Hello, welcome to Iggy's Toy Parade and Soldier Review. Once again, this is your host, Iggy, and I want to thank all of you for your kind comments when I wasn't doing too well. I feel almost back to 100% now. What had happened is that I must have forgotten to take my insulin last night because my blood sugar was like 400 or something like that. And so I was feeling pretty sick. But the good thing about correcting blood sugar is that it doesn't take long. I mean, it takes longer when it's too high than when it's too low. When it's too low, you get some juice and it corrects it within about 20 minutes. When it's too high, it will take about 4 hours for you to get stabilized again. But I felt pretty good, so I went into work and worked my shift. And I wanted to bring you this mess. Remember, I in my last video I showed you some loose joes, and then I showed you a quick uh, glimpse of my chair, and in the chair was baggies full of pretty much junk here. That's incredible. Um, there are a couple things in here that will be of interest to you. Uh, This is from the Ultimate Soldier. It's the 29th Infantry Division. And it comes with this combat vest, which is really cool. You put this vest on them, and it's got his pack. And we used to call this the Alice pack. I don't know what it's called, but we called it an Alice pack. Yeah, the paint could be better if it was a flat instead of a glossy enamel. Well, that's the vest from the 29th Infantry Division. You can see there's their patch. I think the 29th was a National Guard unit which was activated for federal service, so it was incorporated into the Army. And I think I showed you a video a couple hundred. God, that sounds funny to say that. A couple hundred videos ago, I did a video about my visit to Camp Blanding, and many of the units that participated in the Normandy invasion and the invasion of France, the battles after Normandy, did training at Camp Blanding before they were sent to England prior to the D-Day invasion. And then over here, and he comes with these. There's some nice detail there, isn't it? Got the stitching on the boot. That's pretty cool. I think they call these Corcoran boots. The boots I had in the Army were German. We were allowed to wear German boot. I don't know why, but they let us wear German tanker boots, and I liked the German boots because they were insulated, and so when it would get cold, they kept your feet warmer, and that's why I bought a pair of German boots. I used to have them for my Santa Claus outfit, but when I got heavy, believe it or not, even my feet got heavy and I couldn't fit into them anymore. So I think I gave them away. I hope I gave them away and didn't throw them out, but I might have thrown them out. I don't know. Over here we have 82nd Airborne uniform. And what's this? Oh, this looks like a Browning automatic rifle. Wait a minute. This could be to a Bren gun. I'm not sure. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff here. This is the uniform. And this too is Ultimate Soldier. And this is a pretty cool looking uniform. I don't care for American combat uniforms, but I do like this uniform quite well. Okay, so here's some boots that they incorporated the gator into the boot here. And we got a Thompson without the shoulder stock and some grenades. These are quite different than the G.I. Joe grenades because G.I. Joe grenades are always silver. And these look more like real grenades. Here's a little water bottle. Or maybe it's for medicine. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see. This for the Thompson. Here's a 2-pint British canteen. There's a shelter hat for poncho. They used them for both purposes. And this is an A-frame. Instead of a rucksack, they would have this A-frame and they would attach stuff to it. It looks like Africa core webbing there. This bucket is way too big. I mean, look at the size of this thing. So I'm not quite sure on the scale of that. And speaking of scale, here's the 50 cal for Soldiers of the World, and it looks like it's slightly too big also for G.I. Joe anyway. And here's when they released Imperial Japanese. He doesn't look Japanese to me. So they could have done a little better with the head sculpt there. I have one of these hats. I think I got it for like $10, but I think it's a defect because the flaps in the back do not overlap and it leaves a gap here. So I think that it was a defect, and that's why I got it so cheap. Here's a G.I. Joe Air Force fatigue cap. And this is an Australian hat. And I had an idea to turn it into a Western cowboy hat. So I pulled it off the little peg that connected it here where you see that hole. And the peg was right there. And I painted it and then glued the front to the body of the hat to the crown there. And it came out okay, but I ended up using a different hat for my cowboy. I don't know, I might try this, see if I like it. It's been a while since I've seen it. Here's another Thompson. And this one had the drum magazine. And I had the drum magazine here to show you. And I got various 45s. This, I think, is a Ultimate Soldier. This is a really crappy G.I. Joe reproduction. You know, when Hasbro first started releasing the vintage style G.I. Joe things, they didn't do a very good job, and this is an example of that. It's not as good as the original G.I. Joe vintage things. And this is kind of a piece of crap too. Well, here's the drum magazine. Okay. There are some holsters here that I wanted to share with you because they're so bad. They came with the reboot of the Soldiers of the World, which that was terrible, by the way. The Hasbro. Remember in 1966 they had Soldiers of the World. I'm very fond of those. However, the reboot that they made was a mistake because they released at the same time that Dragon Models was coming out with their figures. And I remember being at a G.I. Joe show, and this guy came up and said, "What is this crap? You expect us to buy this?" And he threw it. I felt really sorry for the guy who was paid to present the items at the G.I. Joe show. And but everyone was excited about the Dragon figures because they were much better in detail and things. I still have a fondness for 40th anniversary, though. I really like that stuff. And this is pretty nice. Who did this one? 21st Century. Their equipment is always well done, I thought. So that would be a green canvas with leather tops and straps there. And here's another one over here. And then we have, this is a modern weapon, not to be confused with the MG42, but clearly based on that. It's 21st Century Toys. So this would have been a Vietnam era weapon. This is a Japanese samurai sword. I don't remember. I think I bought this at the convention also. I have a Japanese rifle up here, an Arisaka. Arisaka. I'm not sure how they say it. Arisaka. Anyway, that's what this is. I don't think this is original Soldiers of the World, though. I think this is a Cotswold collectible, and I don't believe they make them anymore. So this has actually gotten quite valuable in itself. And then I've got an M1, and this is from 21st Century. And here's I think this is a Hasbro M1 from their newer G.I. Joes. And then there's a mortar in the background there that's made of metal. And that's pretty cool. Although I didn't like the other things that it came with in metal, such as the Thompson and other things like that. I just didn't care. Like here's the it's made of metal. It's got some weight to it. Can't see what I'm doing. There was a guy in my World War I French unit. His name was Lloyd. I don't know if I should say his last name. His name was, is it okay, guys, to say it? I'm going to say it because I want to say something good about Lloyd. He was a very creative guy, very artistic. His wife is also extremely nice and also an artist. And Lloyd made mannequins for a living. I always thought that was cool and sort of random. But anyway, he was quite skillful in making things, and he made a mortar. And it was so much fun to go to these World War I events, and he would drop fireworks down the mortar and shoot them over at the Germans. It was kind of, especially at night, it was very impressive. Lloyd was a good part. I really liked him. And I liked his friend Sam quite well, too. They were good guys. I feel, it's funny when you meet someone that you feel privileged to have met them. Those guys are that way for me. In fact, a lot of the guys in my 100th Pennsylvania group were like that. I felt really lucky to know all these guys. They were all different personalities, and they didn't all get along. But when we were doing Civil War stuff, we got along just fine. And it was a great group of guys to hang out with. And some of them were quite funny and musical. And I remember this one show that was put on uh, by some of the guys in the group, and they did a minstrel show, and it was fantastic. They did such a wonderful job, and it was very entertaining. Now, the Soldiers of the World, the modern one, that's sort of a takes advantage of the popularity of Ultimate Soldier and things like that. They, I think, made the best Sandbags, and that's this here, and it's got weight to it because it feels like there's beans in there, like dried up beans or peas or something. And these are the Ultimate Soldier Sandbags, which are almost identical to G.I. Joe original vintage G.I. Joe sandbags. They're made of the same material, exact same material. However, they're a little smaller. The G.I. Joe, for some reason, they reminded me of Bumpy Ravioli. But they're more squarish than these are more of a rectangle, and they fit in with this size. But these I really like because of their weight to them. You can drape them over stuff and they'll fit no problem. Whereas these sort of, you can see it should lay down, but it doesn't because it's very lightweight. Here's a 29th Infantry helmet. You know, the problem with identification like this is then your enemy doesn't, if they capture you, they don't even need to ask any questions. They look at your helmet, okay, we're up against the 29th Infantry Division. So they know your order of battle, I guess. And I showed you this Normandy, what I call a Normandy helmet. I showed you in the last video. And I think this is the British para helmet. No, this is the German one again. All right. I don't know what happened to my British one. This almost looks like a model 1916. It's not, but it's so big it looks like one. And then this one here has a net. Well, it's actually a nylon, but and this one has a really cool chin strap. I think that came with this over here. Now, this is supposed to be a Panzer commander's uniform. Never mind. Maybe I can use the pants for something. I don't know. And then I have all these Hasbro-style web belts. I have 3 or 4 of them. I got 3 of them. I have no idea where they came from. Why do I have so many? I don't know. And then there's a web belt that came with Soldiers of the World, and it's made of plastic. You can see that it's plastic. And this I like because I'm going to attach it to the end of the Arisaka rifle. Oh, look at this, guys. This is a, what they call this, the Mark III. And it's different than the World War I helmet in that the chin strap and the lining is somewhat different. That's actually what the chin strap looks like, believe it or not. I think this is a BBI. I had a Canadian helmet that was marked 1941, but gosh darn it, I sold it. And I wish I hadn't done that. I would love, because it fit me, and there's hard for me to get hats that fit because I'm a fat head. Here's a scuba divers, G.I. Joe scuba divers knife, although the Airborne, the parachutist, Marine parachutist came with one of these too. And here's a, I don't know who made this knife. I'm guessing it was done by soldiers of the world. And this is an E-tool. It's different from the Hasbro 40th and original Hasbro, but looks very similar. Here's an M10 canteen. Now look at this holster, guys. Tell me if this isn't a piece of crap. Look at the size of it. It's ridiculous. And these are the boots that came with the pilot, Japanese pilot. I don't care for those either. This is the metal Thompson, and am I in a negative mood tonight or something? But I don't seem to like anything tonight. So let's show you something I do like. I showed you this helmet. I like that. I like the lining in this one. See that? It's got a cool lining to it. Here's a German mess tin. It's similar to the World War I German mess tin, except it's shorter. The World War I mess tin was a bit taller. Okay, guys, I think that pretty much... Here's a G.I. Joe Soldiers of the World. It's crap. I'm sorry. So is this bread bag. It's no good. This is junk. All right, that pretty much covers it. So my favorite things in all of this would be the Ultimate Soldier 82nd Airborne set, the 29th Infantry set, the Sandbags from Soldiers of the World. I also like the Ultimate Soldier Sandbags, although not as much as the Soldiers of the World, but it's nice to have sandbags. As you can see here, I bought a couple bags of sandbags. So you could say I had it in the bag. But, I don't want to be bagging on it, so I'll move along here. I dropped a British bayonet on the floor, and I can't see it now. No. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you. I'm sorry this video got a little long, but it's hard to present this stuff because it's such a mishmash. It looks like the dog's breakfast, and it's difficult to sort through it. The only two complete sets that I could find of anything was the two Ultimate Soldier sets. And then everything else was from this and from that and from that and from this. Okay, guys, that's all I got for you. I'm not sure when I can present to you another video because I need to go back to storage. My bedroom is so full of boxes now, I can't move around in there. It looks like a factory storehouse or something. So let me get that stuff put away, and then I'll try and bring back something else to share with you. And I want to thank you for sharing your time with me, because I know I get a little long-winded. I was going to say at times, but I should say at all times. And so I appreciate you taking time out from your busy days to come along with me as we go on this adventure. And I want to thank you for enlisting in the Iggy Army. Make sure you hit the notification bell, I guess it's called, and subscribe. That helps me know who's out there. And I had someone subscribe, I think it was yesterday. They were from Thailand. And I thought, isn't it fantastic well, one, that we can communicate with people that live on the other side of the earth, and two, that we can share a moment with each other, even though we don't understand each other, but we have a love of toy soldiers, and that is something that helps us communicate, I guess. Now, on a serious note, before I go, I would like to say that I hope the war in the Ukraine ends soon. I don't want to see Ukrainian boys and Russian boys killed anymore. Um, it really saddens me that they're fighting a war over there, and at this point, I don't care whose fault it is. I just want it to stop. And those guys, they have you ever seen a Russian or Ukrainian girl? They're awesomely hot guys. So instead of shooting each other, these guys should be going out with those awesomely hot Ukrainian and Russian girls. Do you remember that song by the Beach Boys? Back in the USSR, well, those Ukraine girls really knocked me out. They leave the West behind. Anyway, Iggy's way off course again. So, but I'm not a Corsican. That's Napoleon. And are you guys going to see the new Napoleon movie? Or are they going to make Napoleon look like a freak or a psychopath or something? I hate it when they do that with historical figures. Although there was a good historical movie I saw with Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill, surprisingly, because Gary Oldman doesn't look at all like Winston Churchill. And when you see the movie, you can, by the end of the movie, you can't distinguish who Gary Oldman was and who Churchill was. That so fantastically well done. And another movie, British movie, that did a really bang up, spectacular job was the it was a Laurel and Hardy biop, sort of when they took their last tour of England, and I think it was the last time they were together as a team. And that movie was really well done and convincing. And so I recommend that one too. I wish I could remember the names of these movies, but the two I mentioned were extremely well done. Okay, guys, that's all I got for you this time. Now, last time we went to Bob's Big Boy and sat at the counter and had a milkshake. Today, I thought what we would do is stop at an A&W root beer stand that's next to the highway and get us a jug, a glass jug of frosty root beer. And maybe we can pick up a pizza on the way home. That would sound awesome. All right, guys. Take care, you guys. Take care of yourself, your family, your wallet, and your collection. And I'll be seeing you as soon as I can. I'm rambling on. I got the hiccups. Sorry. Bye.